Hi there. For the longest time, making AI smarter felt, well, pretty easy. It seemed like there was this simple, predictable path to progress. But that era might be over. So today, we're going to dig into why the future of AI has suddenly become so much more uncertain. So, why is this all happening now? Well, for the last few years, improving AI was kind of like following a recipe. But it turns out we might be running out of one of the most important ingredients. And that's forcing everyone, and I mean everyone in the industry, to kind of rethink the whole playbook. To really get what's happening, we actually need to rewind the clock a little bit. Because before this whole AI explosion we're living through, the world of AI development was a whole different ballgame. Yeah, forget about precise engineering. It was more like, I don't know, artists just messing around in a workshop. Researchers would try different things, play with ideas. It was all about gut feelings, trial and error, just seeing what might stick. And, AI pioneer Elias Etzgever had the perfect phrase for it. He said people would just tinker with stuff. They were basically playing around, hoping to stumble onto something cool. This was the first modern age of research. And then everything changed. One simple idea. One word, really, just blew the doors off the whole thing. Scaling. And this insight gave everyone a clear roadmap, a practically guaranteed way to make AI better and better. The big aha moment was realizing there was a reliable recipe. Suddenly, it wasn't about being a clever tinkerer anymore. It was more like running a factory. You just needed to pour in more raw materials, more compute power, more data, and poof, out came a smarter AI. And look at this recipe, it's almost ridiculously simple, right? Get more computers, feed them more data, make the neural net bigger, and you get better results. That's it. It turned AI from this mysterious research problem into a straightforward engineering challenge. And you can see right here why the big tech companies absolutely loved this. They poured billions, and I mean billions of dollars into scaling. Why? Because it wasn't a gamble anymore. It was predictable. Why bet on some genius having a breakthrough in a lab when you can just buy more GPUs and hoover up more of the internet? It was way easier and a much safer bet. Okay, but here's the catch. And it's a big one. Any recipe, no matter how good, depends on having enough ingredients. And it looks like we're about to hit a massive wall with one of the most critical ones. And yeah, that ingredient is data. I mean, think about it. The entire internet, all the text, all the images, all the code that has fueled this whole revolution, we're running out of it. It turns out there's a limit to how much high-quality data is out there to train on. See, the whole scaling playbook was built on this assumption that you'd always have more data to feed the machine. But that's just not true. It's a really simple but massive problem. Once you've trained your AI on basically the entire public internet, what's next? Where do you go from there? And that brings us right up to today. If that trusty old recipe, the one that worked so well for years, is starting to fail, well, the entire industry has to go back to the kitchen and invent something new. What's kind of wild is that we've really come full circle here. We started in this age of research, then we found this easy age of scaling, and now that scaling is hitting its limits, we're right back where we started. We have to go back to fundamental research to figure out what's next. But hold on, it's not exactly the same as before. There's one gigantic difference this time. Like Sutskever says here, we're going back to research, but now we have these massive computers. It's like heading back to the drawing board, but instead of a pencil and a napkin, you've got the world's most powerful supercomputers at your fingertips. This table, I think, just lays it all out perfectly. We're shifting from the age of scaling, which was like a factory, right? A clear recipe, low risk, just make it bigger. And we're moving into a new age of research. And this is like a mad scientist lab. The path is totally unknown, it's super high risk, and the goal isn't just bigger, it's smarter. Progress isn't predictable anymore. It's all about waiting for that next big eureka moment. So this whole pivot, this move away from just mindlessly making things bigger and bigger, it leaves us with one massive question. And believe me, this is the question that every single major AI lab on the planet is wrestling with right now. That old idea, the one that said, hey, let's just make what we have now 100 times bigger and it'll solve everything, yeah, that idea is quickly dying. The next huge leap in AI probably isn't going to come from more data or more computers. It's going to come from a brand new idea. And the crazy thing is, nobody knows what that idea is. And that right there is what makes the future of AI so fascinating and maybe, a little bit terrifying. Definitely something to chew on. See ya!